Welcome to This Explainer. I want you to start by thinking about a truly grand irony. Consider this: FIFA has never actually scored a single goal, right? They've literally never stepped onto the pitch and kicked a ball in a World Cup. In fact, they've never even sold a single ticket to watch themselves play, mostly because FIFA, the organization itself, doesn't actually play football. And yet, somehow, they completely control the global game. So today, we're going to look at the invisible empire hiding behind the game we all love and uncover exactly how FIFA makes billions without ever playing football.
Okay, let's dive right into this because the numbers are absolutely staggering. Despite not producing a physical product on the field, FIFA pulled in over $7.5 billion. And that's just in the 4-year cycle leading up to the 2022 World Cup. Think about that. That's a massive, massive revenue-generating machine. To put it into perspective, that kind of cash flow rivals major multinational corporations. The ones that produce physical goods, run massive global logistics networks, and employ hundreds of thousands of people. But FIFA doesn't do any of that.
And here is where it gets, well, a little bit ironic. Because despite generating over $7.5 billion in a single cycle, this incredibly lucrative, highly tuned financial engine is officially registered as a non-profit organization. Yeah, no kidding. On paper, their mission is simply the global development of the sport. But clearly, the financial reality here is operating on an entirely different scale.
So that naturally leads us to the big, central question for today. If they aren't playing the sport, and they're officially a nonprofit, where does all of that money actually come from? Like, how do you generate billions without actually manufacturing a product or even fielding a team? Well, I invite you to follow the money with me because the strategy behind this whole thing is just fascinating.
The big secret here is that FIFA operates on what we can call the landlord model. FIFA is honestly way less like a sports franchise and much more like a massive global landlord. You see, FIFA doesn't need to play football. They just need to own it. They don't sell the sport. They sell access to the world's absolute biggest stage. They own the whole shebang: the World Cup, the name, the iconic trophy, the broadcast feeds, the ticket gates, even the rights to slap a logo on a jersey. Anyone who wants access to that massive global audience, which means us, the fans, has to pay the landlord first.
So, revenue stream 1, the broadcast billions. Let's break down exactly how this landlord collects the rent, starting with their biggest moneymaker.
To really wrap your head around the broadcast revenue, you have to understand the sheer scale of the audience. During the Qatar 2022 World Cup, over 5 billion people tuned in to watch the matches in some form. 5 billion. That is well over half the entire global population. Because of that literally unprecedented reach, over 200 different territories pay massive, separate fees just to air the exact same 64 matches. In the US, Fox and Telemundo pay up. Over in the UK, it's the BBC and ITV. In the Middle East, it's beIN Sports. They are all cutting huge checks to the landlord for the exact same feed.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how critical that broadcast feed is to FIFA's empire. Out of that massive $7.57 billion total we talked about, TV rights alone accounted for $3.43 billion. That makes up nearly 45% of everything FIFA makes. And you might be wondering, why on earth are broadcasters willing to hand over $3.5 billion? Well, it's simple. Whoever holds the right to air the World Cup final holds the keys to an audience of billions, which means they can turn right around and charge advertisers an absolute fortune for every single 30-second commercial slot.
Revenue stream 2, the sponsorship pyramid. FIFA definitely doesn't just stop at television, and they are incredibly clever about this next part. They don't just sell one generic sponsorship deal to the highest bidder. No, they sell entirely different tiers of access.
Let's look at how they structure this thing. At the very top, you've got FIFA partners. These are massive, year-round deals with mega brands like Coca-Cola, Adidas, and Visa. They're paying anywhere between $70 and $100 million every single year just to have their brand tied to FIFA. Then, just below that, you have World Cup sponsors. Think brands like Budweiser or McDonald's. They pay tens of millions for rights tied strictly to a single 4-year tournament. And finally, at the base, you have regional supporters who pay for the right to market themselves in specific, localized geographic markets. It is a highly optimized, money-making pyramid. And man, this tiered pyramid is unbelievably lucrative. For the last World Cup, every single sponsorship slot they offered completely sold out. The growth here is just incredible. Back in 2003, sponsorships brought in $714 million. Fast forward to the 2022 cycle, and that ballooned to nearly $1.8 billion. And it doesn't stop there. As they gear up for the 2026 cycle, FIFA's projecting those marketing rights will climb past a staggering $2.6 billion.
All right, moving on to revenue stream 3, tickets and hospitality. This is the revenue stream that you and I, the everyday fans, actually interact with directly. It's the physical reality of the World Cup. For the last tournament, FIFA sold over 3 million tickets, impressively filling stadiums to over 96% capacity across all 64 matches. But if we break down those 3 million tickets, a really interesting strategy emerges. Standard tickets brought in a very respectable $686 million, but the hospitality and VIP suites, they brought in an additional $243 million. That VIP segment is absolutely crucial. You see, FIFA recently realized they were leaving money on the table by outsourcing this premium experience. So what did they do? They cut out the middleman. By running the hospitality sales themselves, they get to keep a much bigger slice of the pie from those high-paying corporate clients. It's actually become one of their fastest-growing revenue lines.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer premium people are willing to pay for that VIP access. $1,604. That was the cost of just a single premium VIP seat at the final match in Qatar. Just one seat. When you consider the thousands of premium seats available across 64 matches, you start to see exactly how quickly that hospitality revenue adds up to nearly $250 million.
And that brings us to revenue stream 4,